So when's the last time you actually looked at your bank account and genuinely felt okay doing it? And that question alone probably created a small reaction, like, oh, I need to go check my bank account, or I wonder if my check went through. I wonder if I got paid. I wonder if that random Apple subscription got taken out today. And so we brace ourselves before we even get to the bank account. And what we do, if you're kind of on the personal finance journey, the next logical step is to download a budgeting app, where you say, rather than me feeling tense about it, I'm gonna download a budgeting app, or I'll follow some program that maybe the baby steps, maybe just a budgeting template you find online, maybe you download any of the many apps that exist right now that focused on, hey, let's look at the numbers first. And you start and you do well and you check it 1 or 2 days, you check it 2 or 3 weeks, but then maybe let's say after 4 weeks or some gap in time, you don't stick to it. The motivation that kind of surged at the beginning of the year or whatever time that you felt motivated, it doesn't hit and it doesn't stick with you. So then you end up telling yourself, hey, I knew I'd fail though. I'm not good with money, especially if you've tried this before. You've tried this every year. You've started the year with a budget and it didn't happen. So then you begin to tell yourself, I'm just not good with money. I just can't do this. And then on top of that, you go to friends and you go to other people and just say, hey, what's going on? Or if you even look at influencers on social media and they say, you have to be disciplined and you have to do this and you have to budget and you have to, and they give you all these things that you have to, or that you should do. And while a part of the journey is those things, but that's not where we should start. What if starting with discipline is actually the wrong place to start? What if we actually started with making sure that you feel safe with money? What if you actually felt that you could look at your bank account and not brace yourself and just say, oh, it's a bank account, it's okay? And a lot of us were handed money in a very unsafe way. That means it could be from the fact that we maybe grew up in a place where scarcity was normal, or we grew up in a place where we just didn't understand what to do with money, or we just knew we needed to spend, or we just knew we needed to save, but we just never really felt safe around money. So what if we were able to find a way that you could start safe with money? All right, so speaking of safety, have you ever reached out for something hot? Let's say a pan, you're cooking dinner, reach out for something hot, and your hand pulls back before you even realized it, before your brain said, oh, this is hot, or oh my gosh, it's crazy, what's going on, why is my hand? No, your hand moves back immediately. That's not a thought, that's a reflex. And when that happens, does someone say, oh man, you so weak for taking your hand off the stove? Or why didn't you hold on, just willpower through it and just hold on to this hot pan? Of course no one would say that to you, because that's our nervous system doing what it's supposed to do. It's protecting us from something that we see as a danger. We don't feel safe. However, with money, with our finances, that logic does not apply. People will say, just push through. They say, just look at your app, just budget, just whatever it is. They're telling you to just face whatever it is that's happening in your financial world, when they don't understand that you're seeing this thing as a threat. So they tell you to open the app, just push through, just budget, just discipline, just follow these baby steps, do whatever it is. But your nervous system is telling you the complete opposite. And so when something is telling you to do the opposite of what your body is naturally doing, they're actually trying to treat the symptom versus the root cause. And so when we start thinking about what the root cause of this is, what if the reality is that avoidance wasn't really about laziness or lack of discipline, but it was, again, like I mentioned, just your body protecting itself? And then how do we shift that viewpoint of protection and laziness, looking like it's something that's negative and bad? But the reality is we're starting from different places. If somebody is on social media telling you to do X and do Y, well, they might have more money than you. They might have more influence than you. There's all these things that could be happening. So what if you started and realized, hey, let's change the way we approach this conversation and not apply morality to things that are happening, but just realize that our starting places are different and that our bodies are reacting to different forms of safety or danger or fear that others may not. So what does that look like if we decide to do something just a little bit different and treat our finances like we would treat a hot pan? Trigger, spike, pivot, relief. What actually happens in your body when you get a bill or you get a notification? For my Apple users, when you get that $9.99 subscription for memory or for whatever it is that you're paying for, that trigger happens. Those type triggers happen all the time. It could be a notification, it could be a piece of mail, it could be a creditor calling, it could be maybe your mom calls and you owe her money or something like that, and that kind of triggers something inside of you to say, oh no, I got to think about money. And once that trigger happens, there's something else that happens. So the trigger is the outside piece, but internally, our emotions begin to spike. We begin to question. We begin to ruminate. Our heart rate might go up. We may start having little bits of shame. Oh, I probably should have paid that. Oh, I should have done. And all that start happening behind the scene. And then you start even thinking about everybody else has this figured out. I don't know. And so all this stuff is happening in real time. And so then what do we do with that spike of emotions? I don't got time for that today. I'm gonna just close this. We'll look at it tomorrow. And if we look at it tomorrow, it'll be all right. And so we then pivot away from the trigger that we got nervous or scared about. So then we go to Instagram, or we veg on something else. So what we do whatever it is that brings us a sense of relief. And that relief we look at, it causes all the tension drop. We put that piece of mail under the stack, put it underneath whatever it is you have on your counter. We just close the app, or even in some cases we delete the app off our phone because we don't want to look at that today. And that avoidance is a form of relief. That avoidance is us taking our hand off the stove because our nervous system has seen this banking thing or this financial thing as a threat. So then we must say, well, why do those budgeting apps work for some people? Why do these baby steps or programs, whatever that other people have, why do they work? So I want to first be clear. I don't have a problem with these programs. I think these programs work, but I think they work with people that are ready to actually start using them. And a lot of times, people who are still spiking with their emotions when they receive a trigger are trying these apps out and then they're failing. And it's not because the app is bad, it's not because the process is bad, but it's because the person has not actually calmed down before they actually start using the system. And then the system itself causes more triggers, which causes more spikes, which causes more pivoting, which causes more avoidance or relief. So why is it that the industry skips this space and just say, hey, let's make sure people are good themselves before we actually give them a system? The personal finance industry was built on optimization. It assumes you're already calm, willing to look, and you just need the right spreadsheet or the right app or the right system. But that's not where most of us are. And the reality is, you cannot build confidence on top of panic. Calm has to come first. And that's the step the entire financial industry skips. And it's the most important one. So if the tools and the systems aren't wrong, that means the baby steps, the budgets, all that stuff. What's actually out of order? Well, it's the order itself. You're being handed, let's call them step 5 tools, when you actually need step 1 support. And that's not your fault. That's the idea behind toxins. It's not another system to follow. It's not another app that's going to send you notifications reminding you of all the things that are triggering you. But it's a way to feel safe enough to use any system at all. It's the bridge between, let's call it the anxiety that you feel right now and the actual clarity that you want. So here's your only job right now. So here's your CTA, as they call them. It's not a budget. It's not a plan. It's not a single spreadsheet. I want you to just notice where you feel money stress in your body when it comes up. So you receive that notification or you get that piece of mail. Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Is it your feet start to do something crazy? Just notice it, name it, that's it. That's enough for today. And here's why that actually matters. Because the avoidance loop that we talked about, it isn't your enemy. It's not a character flaw. It's information. It's your body saying, I don't feel safe here yet. And the word yet is everything. It means this isn't permanent. It means that there is a way forward. So when you can sit and notice that feeling and not go into spike immediately or closing the app or putting the mail back down, the loop, it starts to loosen. Not because you forced it to, not because you finally found enough willpower, but because you stopped fighting your nervous system and started working with it. What if we started working with our nervous system instead of fighting it? The avoidance was never the problem to fix. It was always the signal to listen to. And once you hear it without spiraling, that's where everything starts to change. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. This is Toxins, making sense of where you are.
Toxins making